Can we move on to the Nerd News Network?
We shall. Bit of news as well alongside all these delays.
Yeah, I mean, something really just sad.
Yeah, out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, Maria Elena Rios, who is a famous musician, and has become even more famous, having become an activist after an ex-partner of hers attacked her with acid.
Okay.
And she's become like a female rights advocate and against domestic abuse, and by my understanding is a genuine hero to a lot of people. Has accused Namor actor Tenoch Huerta of sexual assault. Of course, he's come out and denied these claims.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say, as a general rule, we like to believe that people wouldn't lie about stuff.
Yep.
And yes, obviously there is just cause, and you have to go through the legal system, and it is innocent until proven guilty. However, should someone be able to continue to make millions of dollars and be mega famous while they are facing these charges? And that's not something for us to work out on this podcast, but it is a serious consideration that needs to be made. Because yes, Tenoch has his right to be treated as innocent until he's proven guilty.
Yeah.
But just like people accused of murder are put in prison until they can be proven to be guilty or innocent once and for all for everyone's safety, you do have to consider these things. No matter what, it's a terrible, terrible situation. And I mean, it's literally like news that I saw, I think, 2 days ago for the first time, 3 days ago. So we don't have a lot of information right now.
No.
All we can hope is for a swift outcome so that everyone involved can start to move past it.
Yeah, and I know, and you can see it coming now where everyone's going to be like calling on Marvel to say where they stand on for it all and everything, and it's like, I think it's safe to assume that like with the situation we've got with I've forgotten his name, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Marvel will stay quiet till it's there, like till it's valid for them to speak on something. Because it's like there's no point in them speaking early on things because that just pushes the public premise in one direction, and we'll just have to see how that plays out in the future.
It's a sticky one. It is one of the few crimes that are so weirdly heinous that everyone has such strong opinions, and you can say innocent till proven guilty all you like, but at the same time, I never want to believe anyone would lie about something like this because of how heinous it is. So you do just find yourself in a really rough situation, which is why we won't speak on our opinions at all. Like I said, all I want is for whatever the truth is, to come out quickly so that either justice can be served or the world can move on, whatever is needed.
Yeah.
Now that we've got very upsetting and depressing news out of the way.
Yes.
My Adventure with Superman.
Yeah, which I've...
new series on Adult Swim premieres on July 6th.
I presume this is animated.
Yes. So during the 100th anniversary celebrations, I believe there was a little tease for it.
Oh, okay.
And I saw it, and I just kind of thought they'd got like an anime style studio to just do a bit for it.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't think any more of it, but no, it is a full-on show that's being done.
Right.
I don't know how easy it is, if it's possible at all to watch Adult Swim over in the UK. Next day after each episode on Adult Swim, the episode's going on Max, which we also can't get in the UK. So that's great.
Yeah. Smile.
But I mean, it's very kind of Japanese anime style, but it looks awesome.
I'm down. If we can, it'd be nice if we can get hold of it over here. But I'm all for a bit of like, because we haven't really had any new animated DC stuff that I can think of, other than any ongoing.
Animated DC stuff is always a ball ache to get over here. Because they had the DCAU for a while, which was phenomenal, but literally never shown over here. Because it was always like straight to services, it was never in cinemas, and all of the DC Warner Brothers services are only available in America.
Yeah.
So, like, there are ways that you can watch them, including a personal favorite of mine, which was someone taking 45-second clips and uploading them all to YouTube in a playlist that would play them in order. So I watched the Injustice movie that way.
Nice, love that.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Make sure you have an ad blocker, otherwise it's hell.
Yeah,
but like the DCAU was like genuinely phenomenal level of content. So if DC can move back to making some of them goated animated films and shows and make it possible to be seen, you know, outside of America, we're on to a winner. And hopefully we can find some way of watching My Adventures with Superman.
Considering James Gunn has said some of the stuff he wants to do is going to be animated for the DCU, like there's got to be some way they're going to get that out into the UK.
For the love of God,
they've got to figure it out.
It's crazy because I'd love. I know we're a tiny podcast. I'd love to get James Gunn on here to just talk creatively with him, but I would not be able to bite my tongue and going, "What the fuck are we doing about making this content available worldwide, James?"
Yeah, I was like, "Why are you not in HBO's or Max's head office, being like, can we get this to the UK and other countries, please?"
Yeah. We know you're in them meetings, James. What is going on? Give us an update. Yeah, I'd end up accidentally grilling him when I'm just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's due to start July 6th. So it'll be interesting to see what the reception to that is.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go from there. I kind of fucked up the ordering here because we're back to sad news again. John Romita Sr.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has passed away. At the age of 93, he did live a good old life.
That's good age.
But most people will know him for his iconic work on Spider-Man. And when I say iconic, everyone knows Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Stan Lee being the writer, Ditko being the inker.
Yep.
Ditko left Spider-Man after issue 38. And his replacement was John Romita Sr.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of what Spider-Man looks like is him.
Yeah.
So like some of the iconic shots, like the one I was talking about that we saw in Into the Spider-Verse, of the trash can with the spider suit and Peter Parker walking away.
Yeah.
That's been replicated by Sam Raimi and just everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was John Romita Sr.
Okay.
And John Romita Jr., I believe, now does work for Marvel.
Got to keep it in the family. I wonder how he got that job.
I believe, he's currently working on Spider-Man as well. The current Spider-Man run is not being well received. I will not give my opinions on it because I don't feel like getting flamed. And I'm not actually caught up to where people really started getting angry because I'm busy and I have a massive stack of unread comics. And they keep sending me more. It's like I've got one on a returning order or something. But yeah, so he's currently doing the drawing on that. And no matter what people want to say about the story in current Spider-Man, the drawing is gorgeous. So there is that. But yeah, so that was really sad. And I think, I can't think of a time other than maybe when Stan Lee died, where I've seen more people influential in superhero media today just going, wow, that was someone who inspired me. This is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, like, mid-60s drawing Spider-Man and taking him to the biggest superhero the world will ever see. Whether you realize it or not, he's inspired a lot of people.
Well, yeah, he's got a lot of kids into art.
Yeah, he's inspired all of the people who've written Spider-Man after him. all of the artists who, like you said, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s fell in love with art because of reading Spider-Man comics and loving comic books.
I bet you could say there is a huge portion of the team that worked on Spider-Verse grew up
100%.
reading his comics and seeing his artwork.
And even if they didn't grow up on that, you can imagine they went back and read a lot of his
Well,
work
yeah.
since when they were prepping to
Yeah.
get inspired. So I mean, it's really sad. I mean, I guess the only good news is he led a good long life.
Yeah.
I believe he
good
also
amount of
did.
Spider-Man.
I believe he also did work on Superman for a while.
Oh.
Before he came to Marvel.
I was going to say, playing both sides.
Let me just clarify that quickly.
Because that would be interesting if he was doing both at the same time.
So yeah, he started off at DC.
Okay.
So in the mid-50s, he was at DC. It doesn't look like he did anything there. It looked like he did more romantic comics.
Interesting.
Then he joined Marvel. His first work was inking for Jack Kirby's and Don Hecker in the Avengers.
Okay.
He then did some work on Daredevil and the Punisher. I think he did a Punisher miniseries that was really popular.
Nice.
Which then led to when Ditko left,
he
took over.
Yeah.
And then he did loads of stuff after that as well. But the iconic looks for a lot of character came from him.
Very cool.
And he worked until like the 90s as well.
Doesn't
surprise me.
Stan Lee worked
30
well
years
into...
ago, yeah. So he was still like actively drawing a lot in like his 60s, which just shows the pure passion he had for comic books.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But in some interesting news.
Yeah, because we've been speculated about this.
So yeah, so the bit of news is around Blue Beetle. Now we got the trailer a couple of months ago now, and we were both very excited. Looks incredible, looks great, and James Gunn had a lot of great things to say about the character. Loves the character, so we were like, is this going to be separate enough? Has it been cut in a way that it's separate enough from the old DCU, whatever they were building, and is going to be included in James Gunn's DCU? And it seems in a recent interview that he's done, he got asked about Blue Beetle, and he confirmed that Blue Beetle will be the first DCU character, which he's not. It's such a weird way of putting it, because he said that's the first DCU character, and then he said Superman's still going to be the first DCU film, like full film. So then I'm like, is that just because it has to go under the DCEU umbrella because it was already pre-done for that? But he's just going to steal the character and use it?
So my opinion on what this means, logically, using as much logic as possible, the Flash film is set on Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Which is a soft reset of the universe.
Right.
I think this Blue Beetle film is set in the DCEU, but he's confirming that this character will exist in the same way in the DCU, but his history might be slightly different.
That makes sense, thinking about it that way.
That is the only thing, the way he's explained it, going, oh yeah, it's the first DCU character, but not the first DCU film. That is the only thing that possibly makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's got to be the sense of like he likes the character so much, and what he's seen, because he's seen the film, obviously. He obviously liked, and he's talked about it loads and raved about how good it's going to be. He's obviously loved it so much. He's like, I need to put that character into that character needs to continue existing in DCU, and he's like, I think you're right. We've said the Flashpoint thing is a way that he could potentially use that to keep any characters he wants to keep, when we've talked about like Shazam or Black Adam and all those films. So wouldn't be surprising.
My main issue is, what about Peacemaker?
I don't know. All I've seen about Peacemaker at the moment is as soon as he's done with Superman, he's going straight into filming season 2 of Peacemaker.
Yeah, we know season 2's coming. We were led to believe that season 1 still matters. But how does that not make him the first DCU character? James, get on the podcast so that I can grill you.
Yeah,
we've got. You really sweat.
We'll come up with
we see you doing other people's podcasts. Come on down. Get on a British one.
Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely is his way of going, I like the character, so I'm keeping it. But I'm not keeping anything that happens in the film. Yeah.
If I didn't have so much faith in James Gunn, I would be concerned that this screams confusion.
Yeah. It needs to be done like, I'm fine if they, I don't know, if it's just the same actor in the same style suit, but they don't actually confirm if it's like the same Blue Beetle. It's just he wants to use Blue Beetle and he loves how that actor's portrayed him, and he's just going to steal that essentially. Which is going to be a little confusing to some fans that they'll then presume Blue Beetle's part of DCU, but depending how the storyline goes in Blue Beetle, it might not really matter if people think that. So
exactly. We will have to see.
We'll have to wait and see.
Talking about press.
And actors.
Harrison Ford is very Harrison Ford when asked about Red Hulk.
So Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford about everything.
Yeah. Apart from Indiana Jones. In his old age, he's letting the mask slip, and he's showing he does actually care about the character of Indiana Jones quite a lot.
Yeah.
Which has upset Star Wars fans because they're like, oh, we thought he was like this about everything. It turns out he does like some of his characters. But basically, in an interview, Harrison Ford was asked if in Captain America we're going to get to see him as Red Hulk. To which he responded, "What's a Red Hulk?"
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean he is. It doesn't mean he isn't. He could have genuinely been Red Hulk and not realized he was Red Hulk. He could have been Red Hulk and he could just be fucking with us by pretending he doesn't know what Red Hulk is. He might not have been Red Hulk and know what Red Hulk is and is just fucking with us. And he might not have been Red Hulk and he might not know what Red Hulk is. Who knows?
It's Harrison Ford. There's no point ever. Like, I get it. The press have to ask these questions, but it's like, what's the point? Everyone knows he's not going to give you an answer. The only time he shows any, like you say, Indiana Jones, and then with Short Stack, who's now, I forget the actor's name. Short Round, sorry. I forget the actor's name, who's now doing these bigger films. Keeps showing up, like he showed up on the red carpet the other day and snuck up on Harrison Ford, and he just suddenly turns into like smiley and completely different demeanor. And it's like,
tell Harrison Ford just hates the press.
Yeah, he just doesn't like care for it. He cares for the other people that he works with.
Yeah.
But who knows?
More from Harrison Ford interviews that I don't want to get into too much because it'll send me on a spiral. So he was doing press for Indiana Jones when he was asked this question. And he was asked about essentially punching Nazis in the face. And he was like, and he was like, yes, Indiana Jones absolutely would punch Nazis in the face. That's kind of what he did for the first 3-4 films.
Yeah.
It was fighting Nazis. To which right-wing America have lost their ever-loving shit, and it is genuinely concerning how happily right-wing America is to be associated with Nazis. Like, they're not even, like, trying to hide their association
No,
with
they're
Nazis
not anymore.
They're just like, what do you mean one of my favourite characters would punch me in the face? It's like, no, he said he punched Nazis in the face. And they're like, no, I heard him. It's like, what do you mean?
What happened to using subtle tattoos to mean something? Like, now it's just full blown.
Nazis have always been terrible. I don't think that's a hot take. In fact, that might be the coldest take I've ever produced. The fact that you've got people so willingly outing themselves as Nazi in the sense of, oh my god, my favorite fictional character would punch me in the face is fucking wild.
America, man. It's just America for
I
you.
would love to go back to when calling someone a Nazi was a legitimate insult and not someone going, yeah, so what if I am?
Do you know what's bad? You telling me this, I'm just like, yeah, that's America. Like, I'm not even surprised that this is happening. And that country is so backwards nowadays.
So, in something that I thought would be a fucking freezing cold take, if you are openly a Nazi, I will punch you in the face.
We both will.
Like, just so absolutely abundantly fucking clear.
Yeah, that's wild.
Anyway.
Sort of in speaking of Harrison Ford's world and Star Wars, alongside kind of all the delays from Marvel coming out, Star Wars just snuck some dates out there. Kind of just through. They didn't say, oh, these films are getting these dates. They're just like, oh, you're going to get a Star Wars film. It's something like the mid 2026 and late 2026 and one in 2027. You're going to get
a film and you're going to be happy about it.
Yeah. They were like, oh, so you know how we don't give you films like once every 5 years? You're going to get 2 in 1 year and then 1 the year after. Now, I would presume, and I think this is pretty safe assumption, that this is the 3 films that got announced at Star Wars Celebration. The Mandoverse, the Rey one, and then the origin of Jedi. So
are these definitely 3 different films, or could it be these are just the dates for them 3 films?
Well, it just said, all they said is there are Star Wars films coming out on these dates. They have said not what films.
So it's probably just the dates for them films.
You would presume so. If it's not, and this is their way of announcing like a trilogy and they're going to come out in the space of 2 years, which it wouldn't, I don't think it would be. That'd be wild. But I mean, for the fact that they're 3 very different films, like they're all kind of standalone films, it doesn't surprise me that they're like kind of close together. I would guess out of all, like my guess would be that the 2027 one is the Mandoverse one, because we've got a bunch of stuff to come out before then.
Yeah, it'll be it's an interesting one for sure, and it's nice to know there are some films not too far away in the old
Star Wars
galaxy
universe.
far away.